family. I am your host, Coach Trell, your personal natural hair coach from P.A.C.E Curly Coaching, where we embrace the journey of curly hair with patience, acceptance, consistency, and education. So, welcome to tonight's main chat, part 16. And here on main chat, we are here to empower you with tips, tricks, and truth about caring and embracing your natural hair. So, whether you are a newbie, a seasoned natural, or somewhere in between, my hopes is that you find inspiration, education, and maybe a little laughter along the way because we don't want you to be overwhelmed or bombarded by caring for your natural hair. So every week we have these weekly chats about things we should be knowing and doing and caring for when it comes to our hair. So tonight we are talking about moisturizers. Moisturizers are important, and it's not a step in my routine that I do without frequently. There was some curl in the curl community. There was like this uproar thing about not using like oils and butters and moisturizers in your hair. And so a lot of the ladies within that community, they stopped incorporating those things, and later down the line they found out that it was in a sense damaging their hair because their hair wasn't getting the essentials elements that moisturizers bring into our routine. So we're going to have a conversation about moisturizers, what type of what does each type of moisturizer do for depending on the type of style that you are wearing in your hair, what type of ingredients you should be looking for in your moisturizers as well as avoiding. So as I've shared with you all, I'm going into year 15 into my natural journey, and it was not the best experience early on, but these last almost 3 years, I took a deeper dive into my natural hair. And for the last almost 3 years, I've exclusively been wearing my hair in its natural state. And all of the information that I share with you all, principles and practices, are things that I incorporated in my hair journey. I went through that phase where my hair was dry, it was brittle, it was breaking, and I just felt like it wasn't enough of nothing I could put on my hair to make it feel better as well as look better. But all of the things that we talk about are all the practices that I have been doing over the last 3 years to get my hair in the state that it is now, and that includes moisturizing and hydrating my hair. So back on part 12, moisture versus hydration. That was our conversation for part 12. If you have not caught that part, I definitely encourage you to go check out part 12 because it talks about the difference between hydrating our hair and moisturizing our hair. So tonight we're getting into the moisturizing piece of that conversation, but we also should know that water is the foundation of our products. Before you put anything in your hair, before you shampoo it, condition it, the first thing you're putting on your hair is water. So water is the hydration. Water entering the hair strand. That is how you hydrate your hair. Your moisturizer, that is your sealant. That is sealing in that hydration. So yes, we need the water to penetrate our strands, to get into there, hydrate the hair, but we need that moisturizer to seal it in so that you can get the longevity of your hairstyle depending on what that style is of choice. So establishing a routine. So these are some of the things that we talked about in part 12 as we're going into tonight's conversation. So establish a routine, avoiding products that cause dryness, such as harsh shampoos, oily, silicone, heavy conditioners, and greases. Those are the things that we want to avoid on a continuous basis when we're talking about establishing our routine. You want to select products that support hydration. If you are trying to combat your hair dryness, then you want to incorporate products in your routine that supports hydration. So that's going to look like weekly shampooing and conditioning. For those that need to go through an intensive hydration treatment, you'll probably be washing every 3 to 4 days, which will help to restore your hydration quicker than doing it maybe once a week or every 10 days. Using those gentle shampoos, those moisturizing shampoos where they cleanse the hair, but they're not stripping it of its natural oils. It's still getting all of your product out. Using conditioners and moisturizers that ensure water is retained within your strands. So that's that routine you want to establish when you're trying to hydrate your hair. So please catch part 12, which is currently on this page on P.A.C.E Coach Trail page, as well as on my YouTube channel, Coach Trail P.A.C.E. So, hydration and moisture matters. So, here is the why, because there's always a why. Hi, Linda. There's always a why. If you're just joining, please let us know where you are checking in at on the chat so we can keep the conversation engaged. So there's always a why to the question. So why is moisture and hydration important? Why does it matter? So think about this. Hydration is like a sponge. So if you have a sponge and you put it under the water, the sponge is going to soak up that water. It's going to soak up that hydration. And then the moisture factor of it is, imagine taking that sponge and wrapping it in plastic to keep that water sealed into that sponge. So that's kind of how you think about your hair strand. You give your hair strand the water because you need your hair to absorb the water for the hydration purpose, but you also need that moisturizer to seal in that water to lock it in so that you can go a longer duration before your hair starts to dry itself out. Yes, our hair loses moisture hydration on a daily basis, but for those that are in the beginning aspects of their journey, your hydration or your hydrated hair might not last 7 days. You may only be at maybe day 3 or 4, where now you need to restart your process. Versus someone of myself, I've been doing this for almost 3 years, so I can get 10 days out of my hair, and depending on what products I use. So that's the difference. So that's the analogy of where our moisture and hydration comes in at. So your moisturizers, those are your stylers, which is a selection of products that we use after we have cleansed and conditioned our hair. And those stylers could include a leave-in conditioner. Remember, your leave-in conditioner, it stays in. We do not rinse it out. It can be your curl creams, your twisting creams. It can be your a hair moisturizer. It can be those raw butters that individuals like to use, those shea butters. I think shea butter, mango butter. And then your serums and your oils. Let's keep in mind that serum and your oil, it is not a moisturizer. It is a sealant. So I brought a couple products just to kind of show you the difference between the different moisturizers. So I brought a leave-in conditioner. This is from Curl Mix. Y'all know I pretty much only use Curl Mix on my hair. But this is one of their leave-in conditioners from the Luscious Lotus line. So leave-in conditioners provide a hydration post-wash. It can also your use as a prep for your styling, such as braids, whether you're using extension braids or you're braiding out your natural hair, you're doing a wash and go, or you slicking it back in a bun. Your moisturizer can, I mean, well, moisturizer leave-in can be used for that purpose. Moisturizers are more, they're lightweight, so it's kind of almost similar to like a lotion. So this is the moisturizer. I mean, leave-in. So it has like a light lotion consistency. So that's what it looks like on my hands after I've rubbed it in. So your moisturizers are light, but it's still a great product to have into your in your arsenal of products. Your curl creams or twist out creams, again, I have one here. They are used to help define your curls. They help reduce frizz. They are great for doing twist outs, two-strand twists, flat twists. I like to use it if I do a wash and go sometimes. If you just want to sport your curly afro puffs, your creams, you can use them as well. Now your creams, they have a much thicker consistency. Depending on the quality of them, they're going to have much more oils and butters in them. They're very, very moisturizing. We'll get into what to look for on the label later today, well, later tonight. But so this is the curl cream, much thicker than the leave-in, and as you see, you rub it, it still has, it's a thicker consistency, and it smells so good, y'all. It smells like a mango mumbles, one of those candies. All right, so that's just the difference between your moisturizer twist cream, your leave-in conditioner, and then I also brought your moisturizer. So moisturizers tend, thickness wise, more thicker, which this one isn't open, and so I guess I could give you a demonstration of it. But it's more thicker than it's definitely thicker than a leave-in. It's kind of in between the curl cream. Some of them are thicker than others. So that's the consistency of this particular leave-in. And as you can see, it has a thicker consistency on my hands. And y'all don't know, in our community, we don't waste no products. So the fact that I'm opening these and just wiping them on this napkin, yes. But got to make a sacrifice sometime. But your moisturizer again is going to be that prep product you use for your stylist. Your moisturizer again can be used for your wash and go, flat twists, braid outs. Moisturizers, they're going to help revive those curls, bring some life back into them, give you those essential oils and elements that you need for your hair as far as your hydration, your moisturization purposes. And then it also will help replenish the water that's in the hair strand. So those are our stylers. And then you can have, I don't have any butters, but butter seal in moisture after applying products such as your leave-in. So I think y'all have maybe heard of like the LOC method or the LCO, which is like your leash lotion or leave-in layered on top of your oil, then layered on top of the cream, or you can do the lotion with the oil and the cream. But your oils are more of your sealants. Those for me personally, I use a oil um in the after I would use a leave-in because I wanted to seal in all of those good nutritions and lipids from my leave-in or my moisturizer. That's when I would apply my serum as my sealant. But remember, serums, oils, they're not moisturizers. They are designed to be sealants. Um, so yes, you would apply your oil, your butters after applying, such as your leave-in or maybe your creams. Your raw butters can be used separately and are found in selected styling products such as your twisting butters and creams. This particular cream, curl cream here, it actually has quite a few oils and butters in there, but we'll talk about that later. And then again, your serums and oils, they are designed to help seal in the moisture and add shine. I hear a lot of, in the curl mixers community, a lot of newbies come in and they be like, my hair is not shining. And that's because your hair does not shine is not an indication that your hair is dry. But some people need to see that gloss or that shine. And so those are the individuals that would apply the serum so that they can get that shine visually. Hi, Miss Anna. Thank you for watching. So let's get into the makeup of our moisturizers. So first and foremost, water is the first product that touches our hair, that should be touching your hair. Hence, before you apply your shampoo, your hair should be saturated with water. Moisturization, aka hydration, is the primary characteristic of water. Water is foundational to a moisturizer. It forms the base of any moisturizing product. A quality moisturizer will always contain water as its first ingredient. So, if I look at this moisturizer, and by the way, this is step 3 of the Curl Mix Wash and Go. The first ingredient on here is deionized water. That's the first ingredient. Followed up by castor oil. So the very first ingredient in this moisturizer is water. This curl cream, the first 2 ingredients is deionized water and filtered water. First 2 ingredients is water. So when you're looking for quality ingredients, you want to see water as that first ingredient. Again, deionized water as your first ingredient. So here's why the water is so important, which is why we had that conversation versus hydration versus moisturizer versus moisture. Water enter and exits the hair's cuticle and cortex rapidly. Water alone cannot maintain the hair's moisturization state for an extended period of time. So moisturizers are formulated with humectants, emollients, and oils to draw additional additional moisture to the hair and to keep it there. So one of the first things I said that you will find in your moisturizers is a humectant. So humectants are ingredients that draw water to the hair from the surrounding air to prevent moisture loss. They can be natural or synthetic. Humectants also draw moisture from the deeper skin layers up to the stratum corneum, which is the uppermost scalp skin layer. I think that was part 4. We talked about the scalp, the layers of the scalp. Some humectant ingredients are panthenol, which is vitamin B5, which strengthens and conditions the hair, glycerin, Eora, um, propylene, sodium lactate, and some hydrolyzed proteins. These are your humectants. These are some of the things that you should be looking for on your ingredient list. Products with high concentrated volumes of humectants can leave the hair with a sticky or tacky coated feel if applied too heavily. Another thing that you will find in your moisturizers is glycerin. It is said to be one of the most effective humectants for black hair. But it can have an adverse effect if used during colder winter months. During this time of the season, it can actually draw moisture away from the hair because there's no moisture in the atmosphere to draw from, so it's going to pull where there's moisture, which would be from your hair. So that's something to think about during the winter months, your products, how much humectants or glycerin is in there, because glycerin is a humectant. So to take on winter dryness while using humectants, you want to make sure they're balanced with a water-based mixture, and seal your water-based moisturizer with a heavier oil or butter to prevent the escape of moisture back into the environment. If you feel that humectants are causing a dryness, you want to avoid products that have large concentrations of humectants. And again, you may be like, well, how and why? How do I know this? This can be determined by the placement of the ingredient list. The further down the list, the smaller the concentration level, or avoid products that have humectants altogether. So talking about the ingredient list, which that's kind of later in my notes, but the first 5 ingredients are the most important when you're looking at your products. So the further down the list of ingredients you're looking at, that's lower concentrations of those particular ingredient items, versus the further up the list, it has a higher concentration. So that's one way to determine how much humectants is in your products, is looking where does it fall at in the ingredient list. Emollients, that is another ingredient that is in our moisturizers. And emollients are lubricating, thickening, and film producing ingredients that prevent moisture loss and help to smooth and seal the hair fiber by filling in cracks along the cuticles. Emollients can be water or oil based from plants, from mineral oil, cocoa butter, shea butter, and fatty acids. So that is what makes up emollients. The purpose of a moisturizer is to support the hair structure by replenishing its internal water and other essential facets that have been lost naturally due to the surrounding dry air. Emollients and oils support and restore the hair's lipid-rich outer layers and prevents the escape of moisture going back into the surrounding environment atmosphere. So those are the things that make up the moisturizer. Why it's important, because it is a sealant. If it's a quality one, it's going to have quality ingredients that will help seal in that moisture from your hair, as well as providing those emollients and humectants. So choosing the right products. When selecting a moisturizer, it's very important to ensure that your moisturizer is a true moisturizer. There are a lot of products that's accessible to us that will tell you it's going to moisturize your hair, it's going to hydrate the hair, it's going to make your hair shine. It's going to make it grow. And our hair, if you using highly silicone based products, yes, your hair will shine. Our hair grows every day, so they market things to us so that we can fall into that gimmick. But understanding what's in your products and the benefits, and their purpose is going to be essential to choosing a true moisturizer. The ingredient list of the product formulation sets the tone for the true nature and quality of that product. It's typically the first three ingredients that let you know what you're getting. Water is and should always be listed as the first ingredient in a moisturizing product. So products, because again, if you don't know what you're getting and you're just looking at the label and it's like, oh, it's a wash and go moisturizer, step 3, understanding what the ingredient list is going to let you know if that's something that you should be using for your hair. You want to opt out for moisturizers that contains exclusive exclusive agents, which are products such as petroleum, mineral oil, lano oil, waxes, and or silicones. These ingredients block the entry and exit of water through the cuticle. These ingredients offer no moisture benefit outside of sealing the hair off from better moisture retention. These heavy occlusive oils are prominent in a lot of black hair products and moisturizers, and sometimes immediately follow the ingredient list. So you will see water, but you may also see mineral oil or petroleum, which in a sense are all heavily concentrated oils that block and restrict water from entering your hair strand. And so if you're using those type of products, you're going to refer back to our conversation. We talked about the different types of shampoos. That point, you are using a clarifying shampoo to remove those things from constricting your hair strand. No, if your hair cuticles and strands are obstructed by these type of products, no water can enter the hair strand. No water can enter the hair strand. So it does not, yes, it's making your hair shine and it's glossing, but the long-term effects is not worth it. Where I left off at. So these sealants should never be listed in the top 5 ingredients of any moisturizer that you use. The top 5 formulation of ingredients mean these ingredients make up the bulk of this product and ultimately will work for or against you depending on your needs and efforts. So, looking at step 3, so just going through the ingredient list. And so I'm going to pull up some notes in my phone so that I can share what is in that ingredient. And again, I tell you all, I'm not a licensed stylist. I'm not a professional cosmetologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a chemist. I'm none of those things. I'm just a person that is sharing her experience, sharing my knowledge, sharing experiences that others have shared. Research from Google, which I tell you guys, do your due diligence. I come here and I share information with you, but I would expect and want you guys to be doing your own due diligence, doing your own research so that you are aware. It's, I won't ever intentionally lead no one on the wrong path, but we all human. We all do make mistakes. And again, I've shared what works for one person may not work for the other. So the information I'm sharing is information I'm sharing from my experience, others' experience, and then just research, in a sense, common sense sometimes. But as they say, if sense was common, everyone would have them. So I'm pulling up a list. I have a list like ingredients and breakdowns and understandings so that I can better articulate and communicate the information to you. Who is it? What do you need? Yes. All right. So, first ingredient is um, diazonized water, which is just a purified water and is used as a base. The next ingredient is castor oil. So Curl Mix, they have these little asterisks and it says it's certified organic. So they have a certified organic castor oil. The third ingredient in here is avocado oil. So water, oil, glycerin, which is a humectant. So it has a humectant. Um, Ceratera alcohol, which is not like the drying alcohol, but it helps to um, soften the hair and make it more pliable. But let me read my definition that I got. So these are fatty alcohols, not the drying alcohols. They help soften and smooth the hair, and they are naturally derived, meaning that they come from a natural source. And then so what that was what? 5 ingredients. So water, oil, humectant, and then y'all know these big old words. Behindra trimonol chloride. Let's see if I got that on here. Which is a conditioning agent that helps to detangle and make the hair feel soft. And it's a conditioning agent. So those are the first 5 ingredients. Both of the oils are stated as certified organic. So it's not it's from a natural plant source. Nothing that was cooked up in a lab or modified in any way. So this is that moisturizer. So you're looking at the first 5 ingredients. That makes up the bulk of that that product. So let's look at this twist out cream. Water, almonds, mango seed butter, that same behentrimonium, which is again was a conditioning agent, is used in leave-ins and creams. It helps to detangle and soften the hair by reducing frizz and static. Helps spread and absorb conditioning ingredients evenly. Super gentle, helps with slip, softness, and manageability. It has the xylitol alcohol again. Has pumpkin seed oil, sweet almond oil, jojoba oil, castor oils, linseed, chia seed. So just going through that ingredients, there are a lot of oils and butters in this. So that's the concentration that makes up the bulk of this. Mind you, there's plenty more ingredients because you're always going to have preservatives in your products. That's to help keep prevent the product from molding. It's going to prevent the product from growing bad bacteria. It helps preserve its shelf life. So you're going to have preservatives. You're going to have a lot of products are scented, so it's going to have like the fragrance listed in the ingredient. It's going to have your emollients, which are those fatty oils. Your butters is going to have your glycerin, your humectants. So there's a list of things, but knowing what's in there, at least the first five ingredients makes up the bulk of that. That's the highest concentration of that product. The lower down the list it is, the less concentration. So that's just the things that we have to be mindful of when we are using our moisturizers. We need our moisturizers because, again, after we shampoo, which we just cleanse, depending on the type of shampoo, whether it was stripping or gentle stripping of the hair, you put your conditioner on there. Yes, it's leaving some great stuff depending on if you're using quality. I say this because we have to be mindful that not all ingredients and not all products are quality and products. So if you're using quality products that's going to have quality ingredients, it's going to have quality benefits to your hair. After you rinse that conditioner out, yes, some of the benefits of it is remained on the hair. That's why moisturizers come in at. Just recently, the last 2 wash days, I only did a gel wash and go. So no moisturizer, just gel. And I could feel my hair felt dry. Literally, it felt dry. And I was like, I can feel the difference when I'm not using my moisturizer versus when I am using my moisturizer. Moisturizers are important. They provide that softness, that manageability. If you're using quality moisturizers that already have like oils in them, then there's no need to have a secondary source of oil or serum on your hair unless you're trying to accomplish that shine. But your moisturizers, they will do the job that they're supposed to do, which is seal in that hydration as well as leaving the hair feeling more softer, more manageable. Depending on your hairstyle of choice, depending on how longevity of that you will get. But remember, again, our hair loses moisture every day. And so for some of us, your hair may be completely bone dry by day 3 or 4. For some of us, we can get 7 days, 10 days. I've had girlfriends that have gone 14 days. So, and sometimes life be life, and sometimes we can't get to the shower and redo our hair or reset it because life be life. And so when you're using quality products, that is going to allow you to get at least those 7 days. You can't beat that. So quality product selection is definitely key. Understanding what is in your product. If you like a lot of these, I know what these ingredients are, what their purpose is, because I just simply Googled and researched. You can do the same thing when you're looking at your products and you're curious if it's a quality product. Research it and Google it. And if it's something you don't know, Google and research that. The amount of technology that we have accessible to us today is no reason why we shouldn't know what we are putting in our hair. So I encourage you all tonight or tomorrow, depending on what you got going on, is to go through your products. Go through your products. Start looking at your label and start seeing if you recognize any of the ingredients that are in your products. What is their benefit? What is their purpose? Is it a synthetic product? Because synthetic is not necessarily bad, because that just means that it was essentially made in a lab, but it could be naturally derived. I mean, it comes from a natural source, but it still had to be used in the lab. I mean, the lab still had to play a part in combining that product or that ingredient with. So just do your research, and then share that with us. I am going to as we continue this conversation, because we're going to start getting into talking about these ingredients what they do, how are they made up, and if they are good for our hair. So I again encourage you all to start looking at your ingredient lists on your products and to research them and then share them with us, because I'll be sharing information um, as well as we get into, because I mean, the whole purpose of all of this is to make you guys accountable and more aware and alert about what are you putting in your hair. There are a lot of great products out there. Me personally, I'm a curl mixer. I use curl mix, but I think there are other great brands out there that have great quality products, because we've been deprived of that for our natural hair for such a long time. And so when these black families started creating these products, it came out of place of it's a problem that nobody is trying to solve. And so there are great products out there. So as we just kind of wrap up what tonight's conversation was about, we were talking about hydration, um, well, moisturizers. You know, hydration starts with the water, but we need those moisturizers. Water is the foundation of hydration and the primary ingredient in any true moisturizer. So while water hydrates quickly, it evaporates just as fast. So it's necessary for your products to have humectants, emollients, oils to help retain that moisture. Key moisturizing ingredients such as humectants, they draw moisture from the air into the hair and scalp. Examples of humectants is glycerin, panthenol, urea, sodium lactate, hydrolyzed proteins. Um, Humectants that are high in concentration can leave the hair feeling a sticky feel or coat to it. During the winter, humectants like glycerin may pull moisture out of the hair instead of drawing it in. So to counteract this, pair your humectant with a heavier oil or butter to lock in that moisture. Your emollients. Your emollients, they lubricate and seal the hair, filling in cracks in the cuticle to prevent moisture loss. Examples of emollients would be plant oils, shea butter, cocoa butter, fatty acids, or mineral oil, which that's the one you want to avoid. Emollient supports the hair's lipid layer, helping to maintain eternal hydration while protecting against environmental moisture loss. When choosing the right moisturizer, again, a true moisturizer is going to list water as the first ingredient. You want to avoid occlusive agent ingredients such as petroleum, mineral oil, lanolin oil, silicones. Um, Especially avoid them in the top 5 ingredient list. Not saying that, if you choose to avoid these products, these ingredients, then you want to definitely avoid them being in the top 5. If they're lower at the bottom, they're lower concentration. So that's a judgment thing, but you definitely want to avoid them altogether if it's in that top 5, because that's the bulk of that product, what it's made up of. And these particular occlusive ingredients, they seal and block water movement from entering the hair. So understanding your moisturizer's foundation, moisturizers replenish water and essential nutrients lost to dry air. Emollients and oil and moisturizers prevent moisture escape, ensuring that your hydration is locked and sealed in. So, my key takeaway that I hope you guys take away from tonight's part 16 is hydration is foundational to the health of our hair. Water, Humectants and emollients are essential for maintaining moisture balance. Focus on reading your ingredient list. The placement of ingredients determines how well the product is going to support your hair's hydration needs. You may have to adjust your routine, and that is okay. Adapting your moisturizer routine seasonally, depending on where you are in the season, where you may need to incorporate, heavier oils and butters during those winter months, versus during the summer months, you use less of those. And so, this is my spiel for tonight with moisturizers matter when choosing the right products for hydrating your hair. Remember that P.A.C.E Curly Coaching is here to support you on your natural hair journey. So if you are in need of a free hair assessment Q&A, you can book that at pacecurlycoaching.com. And if not, you can message my page and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I hope you enjoyed tonight's conversation. You were able to take some information away. And so I made a post probably like last week sometime, asking you all, like, what are some of your favorite products or your go-to products, or maybe you're just curious about a product and whether it would be P.A.C.E approved, meaning that if it's a quality product, I would potentially use it in my hair. Versus, I'm like, nah, I wouldn't put that in sunflower because I care too much about her. So share those products with me, with us, so that we can do a deeper dive in the ingredient list and break down why it is or is not a P.A.C.E approved product. But that is my spiel for tonight. I enjoyed you guys. Thank you for your comments in the chat. Thank you for checking in. Please remember that all of our conversation and lives are available on this page or my YouTube channel, which is Coach Trail P.A.C.E. So until next time, beautiful people, I will catch y'all on the next one.